Okay, this is Kirk Weisler coming to you live from the Initiative Institute, where we seek to inspire initiative in the world around us. We're not a think tank, we're an action tank. We want to inspire you to think and act differently. So when you see something, don't just say something. When you see something, do something. And it's my privilege today to have in the studio Nick Koumalatsos. Now, Nick is here to inspire us, and he's going to inspire us by answering some questions that we're going to ask him directly about the initiative he's taken in his life. Let me give you a little background on this man. So when I met Nick, he was working with a group called the Raiders, the Raider Project, something he started, an initiative he started to help Marine Raiders and Special Operations soldiers transition from warrior life back into civilian life. But as I came to know Nick, I realized that he ran many businesses, had many irons in the fire. And over the course of almost the last decade, I've learned even more about this man. He's our first guest on the Initiative Institute's very first podcast. Welcome into the studio, Nick Koumalatsos. Nick, thanks for being with us.
Holy cow.
That was an intro right there.
Dude, I need to take, did you record that? Because I need to copy that.
100%.
You've been working on this for a while because that was a great intro.
And I've been thinking about it, but no, it probably needs a lot.
No, I think that we're just going to, I think we have to cut that audio and that's going to, welcome to, you just created your podcast, Kirk.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well, thanks for having me on.
It must be the chair. It must be the, wait. Yeah, it's the chair.
Yeah, it is. The Batman chair.
Yeah, the Batman chair.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Hey, Nick, listen, the whole purpose of the Initiative Institute is to inspire initiative, right? I think the whole world sees things that need to be done, right? And there's a lot of people that kind of bitch and moan and talk about, well, this isn't done and this is broken, and this is wrong and this is that, right?
Yeah.
And then there's those few people that see something and they immediately see an opportunity or they immediately take action.
Yeah.
And in my view, in my experience with you over this last decade, you're one of those people. And so this seems like the best opportunity to kind of kick off the Initiative Institute with you. And I just want to dial in. There's a lot of story and maybe we'll unpack some of that, but let's start with my first experience with you.
Okay.
So I know there's a lot of businesses that you've started, a lot of things you're engaged in, but let's start with the Raider Project. I met you at a ranch and you had a bunch of wounded warriors out there, ex-Raiders, special operations guys, and you had started this Raider Project to help them. So tell us about what you saw. What was the opportunity? What was the need that you saw? And then I want to just talk to you about why did you act? Because I'm guessing whatever problem you described didn't just pop up yesterday.
No.
So tell us about the problem. What did you see?
Man, you're taking me way back. Well, I got out of the military in 2012, and then I was going through my own transition out of the military, and which was a rocky one, which I wrote a book about called The Excommunicated Warrior, 7 Stages of Transition.
Mark, can you grab that book? Yeah. Because my listeners have not seen this book.
So these guys were, I got out, and then a lot of the guys that were on my teams or friends in the unit started to kind of trail getting out around that, anywhere from 10 to 13 years.
How many years were you in?
12.
How many tours, active tours?
7.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
I mean, not all in combat. I did some things all over the place, but I was gone a lot. Out of the entire 12 years I was in, I was gone for 6. All right. I was gone for 6 years. A handsome devil right there. My wife took both those photos.
Listen, when I saw this picture, it was a man crush moment. Yeah. I was like, I don't know who he is, but I want him to like me.
So these guys started reaching out to me, and I'd done very well in the contracting world. I got out, got a job, a high 6-figure job, and was doing well for myself. And this is before the nonprofit. This was
before Raider Project.
Before the Raider Project.
So you got out, and your transition was.
I mean, on a professional basis, good. Okay. On a personal, emotional.
Okay, so as far as finding a job and something to do with your skills, or you did
that happened.
But there's other aspects of our lives.
I was a nightmare.
In what ways? And be as raw as you want to be.
Health. My health started to decline. Mentally, I kind of started to have some issues. Cognitively, some TBI stuff started to catch up. Okay. Spiritually was.
Okay, wait. This is not a military audience, so TBI.
Traumatic brain injury.
Okay, so just the concussions of the different things.
Over the years and things like that. Yeah.
So just hard to concentrate, hard to stay focused.
Yeah. Hormones were in the tank. Didn't realize that my testosterone level was like it was like a 97 or something.
And that's
like
because you special operations guys, the adrenaline gets
well, there's a lot of different reasons.
Yeah,
Your endocrine system gets with any sort of concussion, it interrupts the pituitary gland to where you're not sending the signals to your gonads to create testosterone.
And this is very common for a lot of soldiers.
Yeah. And so what happens is they just issue them SSRIs, and psych drugs and things like that are going to make you feel
even worse.
So it compounds the issue. That's why one of the reasons why I believe there's so many suicides and et cetera. So as I'm navigating all of this myself and going through this, guys were hitting me up and going, "Hey, you seem like you're doing really well."
Because you had the professional piece in place.
I'm getting paid.
Right.
And I'm not in.
You got a good job.
I mean? Yeah, exactly. So they started reaching out to me and I said, well, what I'll do is let's just get together and I'll go introduce you to everybody that I know. All the VPs and the presidents and CEOs of these companies that I've exchanged with.
Okay.
And then my thought was at the time, this is how naive I was. Hey, if I can get a guy a job making 6 figures out of the military, life's rosy, right?
Right.
That's all you need. You just need to get paid.
Yeah.
As long as you're getting paid, everything's great.
Right. Yeah. So, but that's where you were at.
That's where I was at. And
because you hadn't been totally honest with yourself yet about where you were at.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All this goes to this greater need of the Raider Project. Keep going.
So
I love this story.
So moving down the road, we start doing this and I start taking people to these different conferences and we're just pulling our money. It's like, hey, I'm going to rent an Airbnb. I've got a little bit of money. We're going to split
what kind of conferences are you going to?
We went to SHOT Show because all the contractors were there and all the companies were
there.
So
these are places you were going to network to.
Yeah, exactly.
To make sure you still had a job.
Exactly.
Okay, gotcha.
And so I'm like, well, we'll just pull our money together and I'll front everything and we'll split it 4 ways or 5 ways or however many people are there and pay what you can pay. You know what I mean? If you can pay $200, pay $200. Help offset the cost. So I'm doing this for a while, and I meet Carl. I meet Carl Munger.
Carl Munger.
Yeah, and I meet Carl Munger, and he's like, what you're doing is veteran service work, and I'm like, what's that? Like
you're helping out my butts.
Yeah, you're doing VSO work without. I'm just helping out my dudes.
Right.
He's like, you really need to get some infrastructure under your feet and scale this so that you can help more veterans. And I was like, I like that idea.
He's with the Gallant
Few. He's
Gallant
the
Few.
executive director of Gallant Few.
So he's encouraging you to build something like he built with the Gallant Few.
So what he did was he gave me the opportunity to build the Raider Project under Gallant Few and him kind of mentor me, and I didn't know what I was doing. Right.
What I mean?
I just want to help dudes.
Okay.
And then Josh got involved, my business partner with the Agogi and former teammate. And we just really collabed on, and he was going through his own transition as well. We were a mess, man. We were an absolute mess. But we were passionate about helping people. And what we started to realize was this, and through our own transition, was that, and it really just gave birth to the Agogi as well, is just because they had a job doesn't mean they were whole.
Yeah.
And they were self-sabotaging, and we'd network and get a guy a job, and actually I know I get a phone call and be like, he didn't show up to work, or he went and got drunk and got a DUI, and like now he's getting divorced, he lost his job, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And
they were a mess.
They were a mess. And we're like, what the heck, man?
You're making me look bad and you look bad.
Man, like what is going on, dude? Like, why are you doing this stuff? Why, at least why are you getting caught doing it?
Right.
And so long story short, we realized that we really needed to work on the human being. It had nothing to do with the job. If the human being was whole, if we could make the man, the interpersonal value increase, right, then his enterprise value would take care of itself. This is kind of what we'll talk about at the Entrepreneur Accelerator. Okay. So we started doing this kind of like, we went hippie mode. We're like, okay, screw the job. Like there's plenty of organizations out there finding guys jobs. And we found out that once guys healthy and whole, the job just kind of happened naturally. The 6-figure job just kind of came. But what about this identity piece? What about this hormone piece? What about this perspective piece? What about this growth piece? So that's how we met you. We're like, let's get into some meditation and some yoga and some traumatic, some unconventional brain.
There's still no real, Have you formed the Raider Project
Yeah,
yet?
at this point with Josh and Carl, we formed the Raider
Formed the
Project,
Raider
and
Project.
now we're like, okay, let's
We've got
raise money.
We have a little bit of infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's how we started doing the retreats and the climbing retreats, but Josh and I, we thought this, we saw this as an issue because these people would go on these hunting trips or these retreats, and there was no work being done. It was like a fun weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, I just want to give these veterans a good weekend, and make them happy.
Right.
But the problem with that is you took them away from their family, from their work. You put them back into an environment with all of their veteran friends.
Right.
And they immediately felt at home because they can say the jokes, they can be themselves, they can let their guard down, and it's completely acceptable. And they're like, yeah, this is what I want. This is where.
So maybe even more harm than good.
Well, and here's the more harm than good is they had this great weekend hunting or doing whatever they were doing, but then they go back to the same problems. And they're like, wait a minute, man. I was just feeling when I'm with the dudes and I'm doing this, I'm feeling really good. And when I get around my wife and my kids and my coworkers,
feeling all this pressure.
It's just garbage. Everybody sucks. So they suck, right? I'm okay. My wife and kids
must be them.
And my coworkers suck, right? It's not me.
So you and Josh saw that as well.
So we saw that these things weren't like, listen, and no, I get it. There's no offense to anybody that's trying to like take care of veterans and like do these sort of trips. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, and I understand why they're doing it. They've got a heart for it. They got a heart for it. They're just trying to provide value and to serve their community and the veteran network.
But just like the need isn't just the job.
Right.
It's bigger than the job. The need is also bigger than the retreat.
Exactly. And so Josh and I were like, okay, we can do that. We'll go do a retreat. But listen, motherfuckers are going to work, Right. And now we're on we're on a different podcast, so I guess I got to watch my language now. So you have
the initiative is too. There's no judgment.
Your editor's going to have to bleep my words. So
just talk to us. Tell us the story.
But the thing is we were like, let's do a retreat, but let's do it a working retreat, so that let's change some perspectives and give you some tools, so that when you do go back to your wife and kids and your coworkers on Monday, you have tools to solve the problems that you're facing. And that's what we did. And it wasn't, we didn't, win every time.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
but
you just built this from the ground up.
We just figured it out.
You got a little bit of coaching from Carl on how to do a nonprofit, but after that you're like,
and he was mentoring me and you were mentoring me on my own transition. And like, I was, my first Raywall retreat, I was stressed. Remember you were like, I was trying to like manage everything and navigate. And you told me, I'll never forget, you told me, you're like, hey Nick, if you and I go walk up this mountain. That was a beautiful hike. Wasn't that a beautiful hike up that mountain over the overlook? Yeah. Is the world going to stop spinning? And I think I gave some smart ass answer. Like, well, obviously not.
Well, I remember because all the guys were out, they were doing their yoga, horses, fishing, shooting guns. And you're in there on your laptop.
I'm working.
What are we doing tonight? And I'm like, I don't know. This guy needs to go for a walk. And I felt drawn to you. So, okay.
So anyway, you took me on that walk. And, you said, you were like, was the world going to stop turning? And I was like, okay, obviously not, Kirk. The world's going to keep turning if I stop working. You're like, well, let's just go. Let's go for a walk. And I think you listened to me bitch for about an hour. I don't think you said 2 words.
I don't remember that. I just remember a great walk.
It was a great walk. Yeah.
All right. So I want to bring this back to initiative. So you saw this need.
Mm-hmm.
You began to kind of take a closer look at yourself and say, what do I really need? What's really happening in here? You wrote this book. You really tried to break it down so that you could give these 8 principles? 7 principles to other people going through transition. I remember you telling me, the Marine Corps makes really great warriors, but they don't make great civilians.
Nor is it their responsibility to do so.
Nor is it their responsibility. Mm-hmm. So you said, but these guys need help. Mm-hmm. And what's currently there isn't helpful, and it's not enough. So I'm going to do what I can. At one point, I think you were running 7 separate businesses.
Yes.
And you explained to me that most of these were to help fund the Raider Project because you hadn't figured out how to get all the funding done there. So you really believed in this.
Yeah. So each one of my businesses, you can do business corporate donations. So obviously our CPA was like, yeah, if you write this off, it's a deduction.
Right.
So I was like, okay. So I got with every one of my business partners and I was making sure that you're clear. I'm like, you're okay by doing this. And we just cut monthly donation checks to the Raider Project.
And you probably maxed them out, I bet.
Yeah.
Because
I tried. I think it was like 6,000 or something. You need to be 6,000 a year or something like that to make it work. So we did
I've been on a couple of these with you.
Yeah.
Right. The one we took up in the mountains where it just rained cats and dogs.
we got water. Yeah.
Is your tent full of water?
It's a great trip though.
Is your tent full of water? Yeah, mine too. Okay.
Yeah, when you're literally your thermarest is you're floating. You're floating in your own tent. It was a great trip.
It was a great trip.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just, but again, our point is, here's this thing. These guys are struggling. You saw some of your community, they were gaining weight. They were getting on alcohol. They were getting on drugs. And like, these were some high operators.
Yeah.
These were some of the best.
Yeah.
These guys would go behind lines and do hard missions that most of the world wouldn't do.
Yeah.
But they don't know how to take all those skills and training and become great fathers, husbands, and civilians.
And to be real, like I didn't have it either. Like I was still a mess too. So what I was doing was I was seeking out people that really had it. I was facilitating. I was using myself as a guinea pig, going through different therapies and training and different that. And honestly, I didn't even think that I needed it to be honest.
Sure, because
I was just doing it to make sure that it was legit, so that my guys could, I'm not going to give something to my guys
that I haven't tried.
And I went through it, and I was like, oh man, this is like, and they're like calling me out. They're like, Nick, you're really jacked up. I'm like, oh, okay.
Take some notes here, bro.
Take some notes here, bro. Yeah, and honestly, that facilitated my own growth, and that's facilitated my own healing, and it facilitated my transition even faster, because I kind of used myself as a guinea pig. And yeah, like for one instance, the brain clinic that I went to, I ever tell you about that?
No, tell us the brain clinic.
So I went to the brain clinic, and I met this doctor at a SOCOM Care Coalition thing with Carl.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, this is amazing. Like, this is an amazing thing that they have going on for vets. The Brain Institute thing. And anyways, so I filled this thing out to get more information, and it had a bunch of questions. Like, he gave me this thing, and I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm going to fill this out. And it had a bunch of like a questionnaire about myself.
Right.
But I was just inquiring. I was doing it to inquire
how this works.
So
I could tell my guys.
So that I could tell my guys. They called me, and they were like, hey, Nick, can you get here? On Monday? We have a course that we want to put you through. And I'm like, no. I don't think guys, sorry. It's a misunderstanding.
I'm good.
I was thinking, and they're like, so they started asking me a series of questions, and they're like, yeah, we'd really like you to come in on Monday for a 2-week inpatient brain clinic treatment. Anyways.
Did you go?
Yeah, I went, and I was super, super jacked up. I didn't even know how jacked up I was until afterwards. Because I hadn't slept. So this was 2014. I hadn't slept. I hadn't slept
since 2011.
It was 2009. Yeah, I hadn't slept really like a real good sleep since 2009. And
that jacks your brain.
Yeah. And then so in 2014, when I went to the brain clinic, while I was there, it was the first time I had ever slept 8 hours since 2009.
That was a wake up, wasn't it?
Whoa. And anyways,
your body was probably like, whoa, cool.
Yep.
Okay, so I want to explore more of your personal stories, but I want to also keep us focused on initiative. So let's talk about, so there was this need. You didn't fully understand it, but you still knew there's something needed to be done, and you started doing it.
Yeah.
That's initiative. We see something that needs to be done, and we take action. We do it without being asked. We go, well, I can do something, and so you started doing it. And then along the way, we get better at doing it. We learn more about what we're doing and how to do it better. Okay, is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay, so you also run a very successful program called the Agogi.
Yeah.
Am I saying it right?
The Agogi.
Agogi. Now, the first time I heard that, I was watching
300,
right?
Yeah.
The Spartans, this is how they abused each other, right? This is how they got tough and got hard and began their journey.
Yeah.
So what was the need that you saw? And how did the initiative of the Agogi, because there was no Agogi before you started it.
Right.
So what was the need that you saw that you believed the Agogi initiative would solve?
So because of what I was doing, and like you said, the more I poured into myself, the more that I leaned into growth and really became a master of some of these concepts.
Right.
Other men, I would talk about them on social media. Like the podcast started, like obviously all the businesses need marketing. So I just talked about these concepts publicly. men started reaching out to me and doing the same thing, wanting the same thing. I got myself fit. You remember that.
Yep.
Like I went through that whole transition,
Yep.
got in incredible shape, kind of in touch with my kind of warrior roots, if you will.
Yeah.
You know, of who I was in the military.
Right.
And I kind of had to set this thing as like, you know, so in the military, you know, you guys are all these warriors and these badasses and you'll never let the enemy get you. And then all of a sudden, civilian life is your kryptonite. That's what crushes you.
Right.
You can't hack civilian life.
Yeah.
Like I'm not buying it, man. So I kind of took the same concept of how we defeated the enemy, how we win, our warrior culture, the never quit kind of attitude, and I just brought that into myself. And I got fit, and then because I got fit, guys started asking me like, "What
are you doing?
What are you doing?" And I said, "You know what? I'm gonna run this. I'm gonna run this challenge, this like 3-month challenge." And I brought on some people. And
so the vision was just 3 months challenge. The vision was like, I'm going to create a long program for the next one.
No business, no anything like that. No,
just like,
I'm just going to create a challenge.
People are asking me.
Yeah, people are asking.
There's a need.
Yep.
Okay.
And I just paid attention to that. And I always believed, you know, in business, I was like, you know, your customers will tell you what the product needs to be.
Yeah.
They will. If they're asking for you,
right,
they will tell you what the product needs to be. And if you get enough repeat ask, it's like,
there it is. Yeah.
Knock, knock. You know. As something like I was telling you earlier in the other podcast.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Which is why we're doing this podcast.
So anyways.
Yeah, it's starting to come home a little bit.
Yeah.
Is this part of your evil plan? He's driving this home. Okay.
So we created the thing called Surviving the Cut, and it was a 3-month thing. And ironically enough, one of our coaches was in that Surviving the Cut. That's where they started. And they're still with the Agogi today. And they went through as a client for years.
Right.
And then they got to a point where we actually brought him on as our first coach outside of Josh and I. And so we did the Surviving the Cut. It was like really rudimentary, really raw,
right?
You know, really fitness and macronutrient based.
Right.
We did a second one. I think we might have even done a third one. And then the next year, and we skip quarters. We do like one a quarter, then we skip a quarter and do another one.
Right.
You know, and we March of 2020. Okay. We said, you know what? This is going so well. Let's do this for real. So we launched a online fitness and nutrition company, Josh and I, called the Agogi. And the reason why we called it the Agogi was we looked at and this is before the whole COVID nonsense started happening, right?
Okay.
But we looked at the state of men across the board, and we were like, something has to change.
Yeah.
We need to take men, put them back into an environment of learning and growth and making men again.
Yeah.
You know, this obesity rate, the heart disease rate, all this stuff. It's just crazy. And it's all, you know, 100% systematically planned to demasculate men, to pacify them, to get them fat, sick, and dependent, right? And we saw this. And so we started this online thing, and obviously COVID happened, and so online training kind of blew up. We're like, phew. So we had all this opportunity because the gyms got shut down. My gym got shut down. The rate got rated, et cetera. And at the same time, ironically enough, we started the Agogi Online's platform. And but guys were not really hitting their metrics. They weren't getting their workouts in. They weren't hitting their macros. They had a ton of excuses. And Josh and I looked at each other and we're like, it's the same freaking problem. It's they didn't have a fitness and nutrition problem. They had a problem with the space between their ears. So it's like, we have to attack this. If we want this to be successful, we got to fix the root cause, which is their mindset, their perception. And it was the same thing. You've grown men going, my wife sucks, my kids suck, they're always nagging me. It's like, no, dude, you suck. You haven't kept your promises. You're lazy. You don't help. You know what I mean? You're not serving your family. You're just taking. And he's like, but I provide the paycheck. And I was like, guess what? They don't really care about that. They just want dad to be on the nest with the wings over, protecting them and be there.
Yeah.
And to be integrated with the family.
Yeah. Don't be a poolside dad. Get in the water. Get in the water, dude.
Get in the water. Yeah. And so we realized that. And so we started doing the mentorship program side, where we started bringing in the Agogi and doing Zoom calls and meeting, and I started teaching on the concepts that I talk about on social media, but in a more calculated, direct manner and an engagement, right? Like,
so you just said we've got to have an education. We have to have
an education piece. We got to change their perspective. We got to give them clarity. We got to create vision. And when that happened, that's when the game changed. That was when the game changed.
So your first Agogi, how many people for your first 90-day challenge?
Oh man, I don't know. 50.
Okay. And second one, about the same?
No, it went up to like 100, and then it was like 200. And
then if you would say now, including, well, maybe let's exclude. When you went to this new model, how many men have you had in your program?
Oh, thousands.
Thousands.
Yeah, we've changed thousands of lives at this point.
So today, you and I were talking about...
It's not enough. Obviously, it's not enough.
No,
it's not a drop in the bucket.
Today, I want our viewers to know where to go. So today you were showing me some clips. They were on Instagram. Mm-hmm. So if I go to Instagram, what do I type in to find?
You can do mine or the Agogi.
Okay, so Nick Koumalatsos or just
the Agogi.
The Agogi?
The Agogi.
Agoge on Instagram, and just watch these videos of these men and they're just right there. It's not some big before-after hero thing. It's these men talking about how their mind changed and their bodies changed and their relationships changed, and they're telling their stories. And I found myself really drawn in. I just go there and check these out. They're very worthwhile. So you, as you were showing me these, you were like a proud father, right? You were like a proud father because you're like, Kirk, I know this guy. This guy was 240. This guy lost 40 pounds. This guy lost 100 pounds.
Yeah.
This guy in 3 years did this. But then you didn't say, but it wasn't about the weight. You said, this guy's running 3 businesses right now. This guy's business has quadrupled. And you were directly linking the Agogi, which an outsider would say this is a physical fitness program, to their life was enhanced.
Yeah, read this. I just got this text before.
Okay.
I just got this text before.
Read it.
And this is starting out with. No, I want you to read it.
Oh, okay.
I got this text right before the podcast.
Okay, so this is Nick. My net income to myself was over $700K before I take my car, etc. That's more than double. Who the hell am I? And that's from Charlie.
Yeah.
Wow, that's more than double. And
yeah.
So, but this,
and that's like,
but
over 100 pounds lost.
That's an echo of every story you told me today. And that was just a small fraction of this thousands of people that you've helped with this Agogi. So there was
that goes back to what I was saying before with anything. It's a human being condition. It's a human being problem. When you fix yourself, when you fix your internal value, your enterprise value naturally goes up. You know, and we talk, Nick Long talks a lot about the business. He's one of the guys that we work with, but he talks a lot about the business man versus the business plan. Like the business man has to be like a full up round. He has to be.
You said something earlier today. The business plan, as good as it is,
it ain't shit without the business man. So the business man needs to get his shit together. And then he'll figure out the business plan, and they'll be successful.
So this Agogi thing is not a body; it's a life transformation.
It's a whole.
It's a vehicle for a life.
It's a tribe.
A fundamental.
We've created a cult.
Yeah,
we really have.
But it's transformational.
Transformational.
It's not transactional. It helps people change.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to get one more story in. So we could talk about the gym that you bought, the shipping company that you bought and ran. We could talk about
coffee company.
We could talk about the coffee company. Hold on, let me see what I remember. You did personal security, like really wealthy people hire you to go travel with them. I think that's a great gig.
Yeah.
I guess if you have to protect them, maybe not. But you do personal coaching, very high end, like lots and lots. Like people pay tens of thousands of dollars in multiples to have you as a personal coach for a year.
Well, if they want to get rich,
if they want to, oh, we're going to triple your income, I promise. And then he delivers.
That's what been trying to do with Kirk for a long time.
Just Kirk, if you'll actually give people some value, like do a podcast. So you're not going to let it go. So I'm doing it right now, for goodness sake. Okay, but I'm here at Johnny Slicks. So Johnny Slicks, can I share the numbers that you did last year?
Yeah.
Johnny Slicks did 4 million plus in sales last year.
4.5, over 4.5.
You've got a goal this year to triple that. Double that. Okay, to double that.
We'll be an 8-figure business this year.
Okay, so to double that, but that's. This is a very curious story to me because nowhere on your path of firearms training and all the different things that you've bought and done along the way, all these initiatives, then all of a sudden there's this hair company, right? Right. But not only that,
we sell soap.
we sell coffee. I get coffee, like coffee. Warriors need coffee. Right. Warriors need guns. Right? I get secure. I don't get hair products.
Yeah.
So, but that wasn't your baby. That was some other soldier.
That was John's, yeah.
But you saw something and said, no, there's a bigger opportunity here.
Yeah. I knew how big it was, but I didn't realize how big it was going to be. I saw a product. He gave me the product.
At the time, it was just him, right? There was one guy.
It was just a dude
named Johnny.
Yeah, just John.
Is he here today? Is he even?
He's in there.
Do you think? Can we?
You want to get him?
Because if we can get both these guys to tell this story, this would be a good closing story. We're inspiring people to take action today.
Yeah.
Right? They've got ideas. They see a need. Don't just see it. Do it. Do something. So you saw a need and did something, and it's become something amazing. So I want to explore what you saw. Where did it come from? And why you took action instead of just saying, well, this sucks.
Okay. So he messaged me, and then we'll let the man talk. But
okay.
He messaged me like a million times on Instagram. You know, at the time, I was like getting hit up by a lot of companies to do advertising and different things on social media.
Because you were starting to tell your story, and people were like,
exactly, yeah.
Okay.
And anyway, so finally he got through, and then I got the product, and I immediately was like, "This is $1 million product, like 100%." It was mind blowing.
This was the beard oil.
It was pomade. It was pomade and one beard oil.
Yeah.
It was 2 pomades.
Pomade and a couple beard oil. Okay.
Pomade and beard oil.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you were like 2 different kinds of pomades.
Yeah.
And you were like,
well, 2 fragrances.
This is good.
Oh my God, it was amazing.
Okay.
And I was like, this is literally $1 million product. What I didn't realize, okay, at the time, this is what I didn't realize, and this is where and like what we talked about on the last podcast, we just finished, right? Was the effect to America and creating American jobs and to creating a product that really makes people healthier and safe.
So that wasn't a part of it at the time. You
Initially,
were just
that was not the part of it. It was just like, oh my God, it's a phenomenal product. This is a more superior product than anything on the market. This is the thing. This is $1 million by itself. It's $1 million product minus, outsourced to everybody and then sell the product. But I didn't realize the heart of what it was going to turn into. That's what I did. And I'll give credit where credit's due. Like John probably saw that before I did. He really had a big heart for America and for American manufacturing and American jobs. And yeah.
Okay, there's a theme here that I just want our listeners to be aware of. So in every story that we've explored today, there was this need that was seen. There was an action that was taken, but it wasn't comprehensive. It wasn't like anyone even saw the true potential. But as we begin to move forward, we begin to see more clarity. Yeah, and we begin to act more confidently, and then we realize that we're more of that potential. So we're just unleashing this unlimited potential. So now, Johnny, let's go to you and hear the story, because you were like this warrior too, right? You like I don't know how does a warrior become a shampoo? I don't. Get us there. So we talked about
to shampoo connoisseur.
We talked about him transitioning out and everything. Yeah. So you served where?
In the Marine Corps.
I was in the Marine Corps. How many years?
4 years.
4 years.
Yep. And that's when everything happened. So I did a deployment overseas, and I hung out with EOD guys and sniper dudes, and I didn't know all those guys care so much about their hair. Like they care a lot about their hair.
Okay.
And so I got introduced into that community, and I was growing my hair out like John Basilone, like from the 1940s. I had a nice pompadour over, and so I became prideful with my hair as well. And we used to have like,
because hair was the thing there with this group.
It was the hair,
special operations, special hair.
It was wild. Yeah, we took time out of our day to do our hair.
It's one of the things wild. Okay, I love it. So
we had hair competitions who had better hair, and it was wild.
I love that.
However, though, the thing I didn't know at the time is the products we were using to make our hair look good was just absolutely filled with chemicals. And that's what led to, in 2015, I was getting ready to start transitioning out of the Marine Corps, and I jumped down off of a loading dock on base, and one of my buddies said, "Oh, your hair's thinning, ha ha ha." And I thought he was joking. It wasn't. I took it as a joke, but I went home and I looked in the mirror, and my hair, I could actually see my scalp through my hair. So I started to panic because all these guys, we take our hair very seriously, and now I'm never going to win who's got best hair today because I'm going bald. I checked my genetics, and my hairline's fine. I checked my diet. Everything was fine. I exercised often. I drank a ton of water. It was nothing like that. And then for some reason, it clicked, and I was like, let me just flip it over real quick and see what's in this thing that I'm lathering my scalp in 8 times a day. Right. And there was nothing on there that I can read other than water. So I was like, let me look at some of these ingredients, methylchlorazine 8. Let me look at that real quick. What is that? Where is it made? And what does it do to my body?
Because we all look at the ingredients, but like we're doing something, but we don't have any idea, and we don't do what you just did, that Google. Extra step.
Look at that. Look at that photo of him.
Let me see this thing.
What photo is it?
It's the one you're talking. It's the one like.
Oh, look at this.
A handsome, look like the guy from the 40s, right?
Yeah.
I had my hair like that.
Smoking a cigar, and
dude.
That was the style.
Can we get this on there? I don't know if we can get this on there.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Go ahead.
So I looked at the ingredients, and I was like, I don't want any of this on me. I don't want anything that's in my household anymore. My shampoos, we were just bathing ourselves in it.
In a chemical warfare kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, as I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps, I couldn't really find work that well. So hair was my passion at the time. I was an armorer, so I worked on guns, and then I did my hair. It was wild. It was like a weird.
That's not a typical combination, probably.
Yeah, it was wild. Yeah. But I got out, and or I was transitioning out, so I wanted to go to barber school. I thought that was my passion. Hair was my passion, and the only industry with hair is barbering.
Okay.
So I was like, and I had the style. I had the old school style. I wanted to do old school barbering. And while I was in barber school, I found myself not on the cutting floor at all, cutting hair. I found myself reading about chemistry and products and all this, hair anatomy, scalp anatomy, muscles, all this stuff, aromatherapy. And I ended up leaving barber school and just saying to myself, what if I can make a product that doesn't have chemicals and can essentially reverse the effects of what these chemicals are doing to me? My hair was thinning really bad. I don't want to be a thinning hair barber. Like, I don't want to be a guy giving hair advice, but also balding. That doesn't really work.
Yeah, my last haircut was from a bald guy, and I didn't know what to think about it.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
so, but what the hell makes you think that you can make shampoo? I
didn't know anything about it at all.
But it was this just began to be in your mind.
Yeah. I couldn't afford anything. I was transitioning out of the Marine Corps, and they don't give you like a big fat paycheck for leaving them. Yeah. So money was definitely an issue. But in my mind, I was like, I can't really afford these like big time hair rejuvenation products that are being sold, Rogaine, all these things that are being sold for hair restoration. I couldn't afford them. So I was like, well, it's organic. Essentially, I should just be able to make it myself, right? Like if we flash back 2,000 years.
Totally makes sense, right?
The difference.
Organic means,
It's just found in nature. I didn't go in my backyard like picking grass and stuff. I went online and I found some beeswax and a bunch of different oils. Threw them in a pot, turned the oven on, the stovetop, and it just like caught fire. Like everything just caught fire. I didn't know anything about anything at all.
I think we have some pictures like somewhere in the archive.
What?
Of
so this is your first. Wow,
yeah,
I'd never heard this.
And I was like,
and
okay,
his wife. Hold on, his wife is not there.
Yeah, she was, and she worked double shifts at Chuck E. Cheese as a manager.
So she's gone. And he's burning the kitchen down.
I'm trying to burn the kitchen up,
making some hair product.
But essentially, what I wanted a product that worked, and I didn't really know where to start. Other than I gathered all the products I use that were filled with chemicals, and I just literally, if I could pronounce it, and like I know what it is: beeswax, water, oil. I just wrote it down on a list, and I had a huge list. I just started buying those with whatever I could. We sold a bunch of stuff, garage sales, plasma, all that stuff. To buy these ingredients, and I just kept doing it. Just kept trying to put them in a pot and turn it on.
You sold plasma, blood plasma?
Yeah.
You were absolutely committed to this.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to find a solution. I wanted to be able to be self-sufficient with the solution, with creating a solution that I found a problem. And I know thinning hair is like a pretty big problem for people, but a lot of people don't talk about it, and I was one of those people. I just wanted to solve it on my own. I didn't want to involve anybody. I didn't want to take...
Most people just go to Amazon and order that thing that makes the promise.
Yeah, and that's not really how I wanted to do it. So I just wanted to find a solution for myself. So I ended up just buying all these ingredients, it didn't work out. I kept catching fires everywhere, and luckily I rented. I didn't own the house, so it was like a black spot on the ceiling from the burn. But I ended up shortening the list. I was like, what is the point here? Isn't the point simplicity? It should be simple. Let me just do 5 ingredients. I was doing like 30, 40 ingredients because that's the lists that we're all used to.
Yeah.
So I thought that's what had to go in there. That's not the case at all. That's the opposite. So I just bought like 5 or 6 ingredients: tea tree oil, argan oil, things that you find anywhere and natural. Bought them, put it in a pot. Lo and behold, it didn't catch fire because these are stable ingredients. And finally, I poured it out, and I had like a terrible looking product. And I still have the product in the jar. I don't want to open it. I'm scared to open it. It's like glue. Yeah. But I had a working thing.
Is it the one on the?
Yeah, I have it framed. Like on
I
my
love
wall.
it. I love it. Okay.
I had a working thing, so I started just putting it in my hair, and I could feel like the tingling, the sensations from the tea tree oil, and the moisturizing effects from the jojoba oil, and all these things. But it just didn't like feel right. It was chunky. It was just gross, you know. Yeah. So I started using these like terrible products that was just like burning up on my stovetop. And then all of a sudden, I look in the mirror, and my hair is not. I can't see my scalp anymore, and I'm talking like maybe 3-4 weeks later, like quick.
Right.
And then I'm like, it started to really work that this is a thing that I could actually be doing for myself. Like I just solved my own problem. That's wild.
Because you removed all the bullshit from your body.
Everything. Yeah. And I didn't know it at the time, but I was trying to create something based off of a flaw. I was trying to create a solution based off of the problem. And that's not really where it needs to go. I was trying to make a product that was similar to a flawed product. But if you copy a flawed copy, it's going to be flawed.
Yeah.
So I just needed to ditch that, find the flaws, do the opposite, and I found the solution that way. And it started working for me. And because I was in the barber industry, I went into the barber. You know, I had a couple of them made, and I went in there and I found out like 80% of these dudes have thinning hair or at least some sort of dry skin irritation that they're dealing with. And I talked to the barbers, and I was like, hey, don't you guys want your clients to like have faster growing hair and have longer hair over time for clientele? And they were like, yeah, that makes sense. So I started using it in the barber industry, started giving it to barbers to give to their clients so their hair would grow faster. It doesn't make sense to put chemicals on your client because then the client's going to go bald and you're not going to be a necessity for them anymore. Right. Finally had a final product, went there, it started working for people, growing their hair back as well. And it actually, like the fragrance, I was really good with fragrance, aromatherapy. I'm really good with smells, so that's a good seller as well. A lot of chemicals smell really bad, so it gets masked with other chemicals. It's just wild. They just stack it. But it came down to I had a problem, and I just decided to find a solution for it, and it worked for me.
So that wasn't the vision there wasn't, I'm going to start a shampoo.
Absolutely not. No, I had no clue.
It was just like, I was like, I just need to fix this.
Yeah.
And then, but other people have this too.
Yeah.
But your first thing was, I don't want to cry about this. I don't want to be I'm balding. I want to do something.
Yeah.
So the initiative was, here's the, I took the initiative. I'm going to build this. It wasn't easy.
Yeah.
It wasn't a first time win.
No, I Googled how to file bankruptcy at 21 or 22 because
because you went through stuff, and you're selling blood plasma to
we sold plasma twice a week. Rebecca and I, we both don't like. I don't know anyone who likes plasma and those needles, but it's a pretty big gauge needle. I have a scar on my arm.
Yeah.
We donated twice a week. We had garage sales every weekend.
What's crazy? It's not even that much money. How much are you getting per donation?
Oh yeah, they give you like $35.
Right.
Every donation.
So but every dollar counts.
Yeah.
You're young. You're trying to get this done.
Eating ramen noodles. I worked at a gas station, and I worked the midnight shift, so nobody was ever there. I'd walk the parking lot and pick up change to put gas in my car to go drive someplace. You know, it was hard. Yeah.
Wow.
It was long and difficult.
So initiative isn't easy. It's not a quick fix. It takes work. We don't see the full vision when we get started.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. But if we take action brings about its own results, right? We begin to move closer to doors we didn't see before, and they begin to open. How did you interface with this guy? How did you?
It was about when I gave up. I was like coming to a point where I was like, there's no more money. I'm Googling how to file bankruptcy. Like, I don't know what to do. It's just Rebecca and I down here in North Carolina. Our families are like up in PA. So
Your car got repoed, right?
My car got repoed. I had 2 charged off credit cards. My electric got turned off. My phone got turned off. And I got nothing else to sell. Like, I'm tapped. Like, I got no more blood left.
Wow.
And it got down to a point where I was like, I think I woke up one morning and saw a post on Instagram about a guy who had a really big beard, and he was like, I just won 5th place in a beard competition. I was like, beard competition? That's a thing? I was like, so I was like, I wonder if I can like just reach out to some of these beard comp guys and just give them product and have them take a photo of their beard with my product. Maybe I can use that to make a couple sales on Instagram, you know? I reached out to 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place. Luckily, I think it was 3rd place. He ended up saying, our beards are way too big. Like, you're definitely not in the right realm. Like, you know, it cost me like $5 to make a little bottle, and I was selling it for 10. Like, I nowhere margin-wise I could sustain these guys. They have massive beards. They would need like 50 bottles a week. But 3rd place, he ended up saying, hey, I know a guy. He's a Marine as well, and I'm pretty sure he's right down the street from you, so he's pretty well known. You should just reach out to him. And I was like, cool, show me his name. And it was this guy. And he was like, reach out to Nick K. So I just reached out to him on Instagram multiple times, and the 3rd place winner, he was like, it's going to take a minute to get to him. You got to get through his people, you know? And I was like, oh, man, I got to do more work? What are you talking about? Nah, it was fine. So I reached out to him, and it was like 6 or 7 times. I messaged him, and no reply. Finally, he was live on Instagram, and Allie was reading like the comments, and I was like, hey, I'm literally
I remember
like,
that. We were in the truck, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm literally right up the road, man. Like, I don't want to burden you. Let me just drop a box off real quick. And then finally he was like, yeah, fine, drop it off. So I took like 3 hours to put together, I think it was like 4 pomades of the same type. I put them all in a row, like made it really presentable.
He did. He made that a nice box,
Yeah.
and with the dividers and everything.
Yeah,
and put it
I
all in
went
there.
to Staples. This is how I did things. I went to Staples and had them open a project, because they manage projects there, to put my logo, this logo, on a piece of paper that says Johnny Slick's beard oil.
That's right.
I put the fragrance description, how to use it. Like I created like a little guide, and I put it there. I dropped it off. And Rebecca and I, it was our anniversary. It was 6 years ago, like today, 6 years ago. We were driving down to Wilmington right here. And then on the way there, he's like, hey, I just got in the office. It was rainy. They were trying to shoot a vlog or some video. We got back to the office. You want to come around? So Rebecca and I turned back around, and we came up here, got to meet him. And then he asked me the most like cringy question to the day. He said, what's your infrastructure? And like I don't know what I'm doing, like, at all. Like,
Infrastructure.
oh, what the hell's an infrastructure, man? So I said, I got a not for structure. And he loved it. But it was so embarrassing. I didn't know, like, it's a room of these guys, these big business guys, and I'm just a guy that makes beard oil and pomade. Like, I don't know. My hair is just growing back now. I don't have an infrastructure. What are you talking about?
I'm broke. I don't know what's going on.
I sell plasma, and I make this stuff in my kitchen in my house that I can't afford. Like, this is not, I don't have an infrastructure. That's the opposite of what I got. But then he said, let me try it out. Let me see what it's like. He posted a video on Instagram or on YouTube. Yeah. And I got a ton of hits on that. And I was like, this is it. I'm back in business. But then it was like 2 weeks. It was like, 2 weeks later. Yeah. He called me on, I think you texted me on Instagram and said, text me your number or something like that. Yeah. And he called me, and he was like, hey, man, we got to sit down and talk. Like, this is some good stuff. So we sat down at Chipotle, and we partnered. And he was like, this is $1 million product. And I was like, this is a product that just saved my hair. But if you say so, let's go. Because I don't know know sales. I just
figured this out.
He had no website. He had nothing.
I bought the URL though.
He did buy the URL, which I was super stoked about.
Yeah, but I bought it from like a guy who bought it from another guy who bought it from GoDaddy, who bought it from somebody.
But it was like urlfish.com.
Yeah. I bought it for like $130 too or something. Like, I bought it at Barber School. I was like, this is available? That's cool. How do I buy this? Yeah, I bought it from like
And you had the Instagram name, obviously. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I had just the beginnings.
Okay.
Sprinkled.
So your initiative was just to take care of yourself.
Yeah.
And then in the creation of that, right? It wasn't easy. Now you've got this product that works. Now you're like, man, this didn't just work for me. Now you've got other people it's working for. Yeah. But you have no market. So you needed a partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, but then you took this another initiative. You could have dropped it by and told the sad story, but you said, no, I'm gonna package this thing. I want to, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna sell some blood, give a nice packaging.
I did actually do that. I did actually go to the plasma center to afford the.
Because they give it a card.
The Staples package.
They don't give you cash. They give you like a card.
It's like an ATM card. Yeah. So I use that at Staples to buy like really nice craft paper
to do the drop off.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
This is the most amazing story. Okay, so again, the whole purpose of the Initiative Institute is to inspire initiative. It's hard for me to imagine hearing the story and not being inspired. Now, whether you have thinning hair or whatever it might be, right? There's something in all of our lives that we know we need to do, that we can do, but we've been whining and complaining and blaming someone else for it, right? And we just need to just get up and get going.
Yeah.
And the promise of that, I think, has been illustrated in all the stories we've shared today on the Initiative Institute podcast, is that once we get moving, things begin to happen, and that are beyond our current imagining. Right?
Yeah.
That are beyond our current imagining. And then it's not miracles because you guys have worked really hard. So this was 6 years ago, because you remember it was your anniversary. So are you saying today's your anniversary?
Yesterday was.
Yesterday?
11 years.
Congratulations on that. So 11 years ago for you and Rebecca, 6 years ago for you and Nick, he's my man crush too, but I mean, we can share him. That's fine.
Man.
So, and then tell us just quickly, and this is not to do with initiative, but I think it's a neat story. So in 6 years, Johnny Slicks went from being something you cooked in the kitchen funded by blood plasma to where are you at today and where do you want to be? Because I understand you guys have a big, hairy, audacious goal for this year. Yeah. So what happened in 2023? Johnny Slicks went from 0, 1 employee, partnership to how many employees? How many in 2020? How many employees did you have in 2020?
2020, we had 6, I think. We hired 12 in
last year.
2023. Yeah, 2023 is pretty big.
Okay.
I think it came down to him and I being such a dualistic couple.
Right.
He is so like headstrong, goal-setted, and just do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like off in fairyland, like thinking about what's next? Like, what's the next vision? What else can I create? You know?
Right.
Having the pair of these two type of people
Right.
is impossible to break. Like
it is so crucial for growth.
It very is
Right.
crucial.
You have to have both personalities.
So when he, because if it was up to me, I'd be in my kitchen creating nonstop.
Okay, no,
that's
but-
not sustainable.
But I just want our listeners to understand. I just want to tell a little bit more of the Johnny Slicks story. So you went from the two of you,
Yeah.
and then in 2020, which is 3 years ago, really, it's 2024, but it's still 3 years ago. So we're still in January. 2020, starting 2020. So
Yeah.
These are my answers. I'll give you the answers.
Go
to
ahead.
The questions. So
in 2020, where were you in 2020? 6 people, 8 people.
What year?
We had 6. We had 6. Yeah, we started in 2018 with us.
18.
So a couple years later, you had
2020 we became a 7-figure business.
okay,
And we had, like you said, it's about 6 people, I think. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
and then 2023, you have the books for last year. 2023.
This is what happened. This is what happened in 2023. 2020 was a huge year for us. We sat down and we said we were going to skip COVID.
Okay.
So everything was happening with the gym and we didn't know what was going on, you know what I mean? So John and I sit down and we just like made the decision that we were just going to skip it.
We're not doing COVID. We're just
We're
going to.
not doing COVID. We're just
We had a list of expenses, and we were like, what could we afford to lose? And then it was like, how about none?
we just decided that we're just not going to
We
participate.
don't do anything, and we just
do
more
us.
of what we're doing
Yeah.
already.
Okay.
And
So you guys really leaned in. I remember
leaned
some
in.
of the videos you created.
yeah, there
during
was
that-
there was a lot of manufacturing issues that he had to navigate.
A lot of shortages and
Yeah,
price
because
increases.
Because
bottles and
the stuff that you were getting.
hand sanitizer, people were buying up all the bottles and selling it and trying to make money off of that, and so we had to pivot a couple things. But here, really, that was the first. Like, we just decided to skip it, and we had an intentional, very big year that year.
Fantastic.
And then we just kind of doubled down on it every year from then. And as we grew, I as kind of the integrator for Johnny Slicks, I just got very intentional about the growth, the setting the rocks, setting the business, setting the goals,
Right.
utilizing what I do in business and what I do with coaching.
Right.
And I just coached ourselves. We just what do I tell everybody else?
Right.
So we're gonna do that same thing for Johnny Slicks. And then last year, really the biggest thing that I don't know if I was on autopilot, if I was burnt out. I don't really have a great answer for what happened in 2022. And maybe nothing. Maybe it was just nothing. But I didn't feel that we had the growth that the company was like what I talked about earlier about
Right.
the what really Johnny Slicks is.
Right.
We don't just sell soap.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's way bigger than that. And I feel like I did it as a leader. I did it a disservice. So in this room right here, December of 2022, I said, guys, I apologize as a leader. I just feel like I let you guys down. They didn't agree, but I felt that was my.
I could have brought more to the table.
I could have brought more to the table, right? I could have been more intentional. I could have provided more clarity. I could have, you know what I mean? All the things that I expect of myself.
Right.
And so I said, this is what we're going to do in 2023, and everybody was like, "Woo, okay!" And they're all on. Everybody's like, "Let's do it." I'm like, and they knew that 2023 was going to be a freaking roller coaster of a ride. Like they knew that it was going to be.
Did you guys, Johnny? Did you guys hit your goal?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
We overdid it. Yeah.
So you surpassed your goal.
But my point to that is there was no guesswork involved.
It wasn't just like let's wake up and sell stuff.
Yeah, like
it was how much do we need to sell next month.
It was everything was very strategic. So there was no guessing of what we needed to do every day. There was no guessing what each employee needed to do, each team member that needed to do. Like everybody had clarity. Everybody knew what the goal was. We constantly gave updates. They get daily updates. So there's no guesswork.
It was all
and we just crushed it.
Love it.
And going back to the purpose of what Johnny Slicks is, it's not just soap, right? We're providing an American dream. We're providing jobs.
Jobs for families.
We're bringing healthy products back to market.
Yeah.
You know, that are made right here in America, that are benefiting Americans.
Right.
On multiple levels, like second and third order effect between our vendors and all the different things. So when we sat down for the planning meeting for 2024, we said, let's just hammer down and let's provide more clarity and be more intentional about the things.
And
that we do.
So from last year you said you added 12, so you've doubled the size basically of your staff and company.
Yeah, and to be intentional again, like we got fat in 2023 because we knew to keep up with the growth, but then also to prep us for what was coming in 2024.
Because you got a lot to do.
Yeah, we saw a 58% growth in 23 from 22.
58% growth
in our fifth year of business.
In your fifth year of business.
Unheard of.
And then this year our goal is 117%. I don't understand percentages that well. It's actually,
I know that's a lot.
It just it does seem like a lot. Mario seems like a lot, yeah? All right, guys, I want to close it out. Johnny, thanks for stepping in.
Of course.
I'm just so glad you were here today and able to do that. I know that you both have busy schedules.
He doesn't mind taking a break from his Excel sheets in the master.
Yeah.
I'm still seeing them. Like I see them.
He said he goes, I see Excel sheets and numbers.
Yeah. So huge thank yous to Johnny and Johnny Slicks. Again, johnnyslicks.com if you want to go check it out and order some superior products. And Nick, thank you. For hosting and being hosted, and being hosted in your podcast studio on the first ever Initiative Institute podcast.
That's so exciting.
So again, today's been about initiative and inspiring initiative and action in our lives. Initiative Institute is not about talking about things. We're about doing things. We're not a think tank. We're an action tank. So that thing that you need to go be inspired and go do that thing and let us know about it at initiativeinstitute.com.
So hold on, Kirk. You got to say, and you have to.
What do I have to say? I've never done.
Tell them like, hey, you got to screenshot this, share this with a friend, tag me on Instagram, tag Nick. You know what I mean?
A lot.
Yeah. So again, screenshot this on share. Listen, if you enjoyed today's podcast, screenshot this, share this with a friend. Make sure you tag Nick, tag Johnny Slicks, and tag the Initiative Institute, right where the eyes have it.
And Kirk Weisler. Tag Kirk Weisler.
Tag Kirk Weisler. Yeah. Dang, I've never really wrapped up. Is it obvious?
That's long.
Retake. Okay. Hey, thanks so much, guys, and thank you.
Bye.